Well, the first thing we will see from MarineLord is an 11 racks and 11 gas, probably a quick Reaper here, maybe a couple of them. Maybe even 3 Moonblade.
Maybe even 3 Valdez. I wouldn't put that off the table just yet. No doubt you want to take map control early on, get the scouting that he needs to scout. So just to make sure that Curious isn't going to try and kill him early with Roach Bane or anything like that. From there, if he's going to do it, transition into mech a little bit later, maybe after Banshees.
Yeah, we're really just going to have to wait and see. Like you said, it's going to be a bit of a waiting game here in this series. We do see Curious going for a pretty safe pool, going for that 15 pool into 15 hatch.
Yeah, that is interesting. Just playing it safe off the bat here. Going to get out maybe some early lings, but certainly an early queen.
Yeah. I think the idea behind that is just you want to be safe against MarineLord. This map especially is going to open up that harass with the Reapers. Is that what you feel like? Do you feel like that's the reason why Curious is going for something like this?
Yeah, certainly so. It's always going to help out. Just keeps you that much safer, and with that short distance, Reapers will get to your main very quickly.
Yeah, even going to take this gas here, wants to eventually get that speed against this kind of build. Of course, he does have that Overlord straight over the base of MarineLord. He will see everything coming out because he knows it's just going to be a bunch of Reapers.
Yeah, already expecting that second Reaper, so he can actually park that Overlord on top of the barracks and just wait for whatever's going to be the next choice for MarineLord. Yeah. Completely denied there, so great start for Curious. Chose the correct build for this kind of map, that's for sure.
Yeah. Pretty fantastic there. Going to be able to hold that off for now. MarineLord going to take his expansion now, and we are going to see a total of, it looks like, 3 Reapers.
Yeah, certainly so. So 3 Reapers most likely into those Hellions. Take map control, be able to really start pushing it. He's trading a lot with that Queen. Oh, very low.
That was really close.
Yeah, actually. One more hit.
He really knows how long he can stay there. I'm sure he's done this before.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about that. And he's going to see that factory. So Curious, he's kind of expected everything at this point. He's like, okay, going for this multiple Reaper Hellions, going to be pressuring the front, applying a lot of pressure, maybe try and get a Queen. He's going to be trading HP with him right now, but
nice little micro there. He is going to save that one last drone. I think he's only made 4 lings, but he's making 2 extra Queens, which is really going to help out with the defense here against the Reapers. Second pops out there at the natural.
Yeah, if you can get away with this creep tumor as well, that's huge. Reapers will be certainly looking for that.
Yeah, look at these Queens on the defense, standing right in front of it, not letting him get too close.
3 Reapers this time.
He's got to be really careful.
Yeah, he's going to use both Queens if he wants to fight this kind of
yeah. Unit. And finally, the Lings coming in here. They're really going to help out. All these Reapers really low. The micro here for MarineLord, quite nice.
Staying on point for now. Is that 3rd CC. Starport on the way. Everything expected, most likely going to go into those Banshees from here. Just keep applying the pressure, keep trying to deny the creep, keep him on 2 bases for as long as possible while he does get that 3rd CC down.
Nice little placement there. He's going to block off that back door to the natural. That can become annoying for some Ling run-bys, even some Roaches a little bit later on.
Certainly so. That's one thing to note about this map that we haven't yet, is that there's so many entrances to the natural here. And if you're going to go something like mech, that's going to make you a little bit more vulnerable to Roach timings, muters into Roach switches, and all these kind of styles that can happen that can just kill you early, especially if you're going mech.
You do see the cloak being researched here first. He wants to get that out as soon as possible. Curious, though, he does have this Overlord in a fantastic position. He is going to see this coming down right as it's being made.
Yeah, look at this today. Now that there's the Hellions on the map as well, it's going to be a lot harder for these Queens to really clean this up. Speedlings are going to come in, but he already lost the Queen for this.
Now he does get a no, not the best around, in fact. He's trying to just push him away, though.
Still, he's going to clean up a lot of this. All the Reapers gone, 1 Hellion, only 1 remains. So that's actually a good cleanup for Curious. I'd definitely trade a Queen for that.
Oh, yeah.
Going to really reduce the map presence. It's going to take him time to build up enough Hellions to really be a threat for a run-by or even try to trade with Zerglings. Slowing everything down, and look at that, 3rd and 4th gas.
This is kind of what we were expecting, Moonblade, wouldn't you think?
Yep. That's right.
We do have the first Banshee popping out here now, going straight towards the main of Curious. That is one thing about this map. I think Banshees are fantastic in the matchup. I mean, the air distance is just so small. You can fly over there so quick.
Currently, we see 1 spore in the main base, so he is expecting it. Might be a little hot there with the Banshee cannon. Get some drones still there.
He's going to get 2 already. He really needs to get that Queen in position to push it out there from the edges of that mineral line.
Yeah, but I do like this very quick spire that we are seeing from Curious, and I'm also almost curious to see if he's going to be throwing down a Roach Warren behind this, because that is one way to try and deal with it, meching Terran this early on, is force out units that are going to deal with Mutalisks and go in a very quick Roach timing behind it while there's still like barely any tanks, and you can't just simply win the game from there.
Like force out a bunch of Thors, maybe even like a bunch of missile turrets that he doesn't want to make, and then just follow up with a huge attack.
Even Vikings, like there's going to be investing in a lot this early on to deal with Mutas. He has seen the Spire, he's going to lose the Banshee though.
Yeah, paying attention to something else on the map. Maybe just macroing back at home, but he will lose that Banshee. I think it only picked up a total of maybe 2 or 3 kills.
That's right. Look at that. Vikings are on the way. He's investing in more factories as well. But if you look at what he has so far, Roaches could do a lot of work in this kind of situation. Even now, a Thor on the way, the potential is there for that. But we'll see what Curious wants to do. It's not necessarily that kind of timing. Just take map control, deny these Hellions any sort of presence on the map.
Yeah.
Go into a much more macro-oriented game against the mech.
Curious getting slightly supply blocked there, but he will eventually get out those 10 mutas. It's a lot of mutas. He saved up so much gas for that. And we do see him starting the +1 ranged upgrade here. I think he's got a good idea of what MarineLord's doing here with his mech.
Oh, certainly so. It's just about what his choice is going to be after the Mutalisk, because that doesn't last forever. Thors are already on the way, as well as Vikings. So he's going to not really find much damage here. He's going to force MarineLord to invest in that kind of anti-air this early on.
We do see him even adding tanks early. I think MarineLord's got a good idea. He's one of these guys who's like, I'm going to tell him I'm going mech because that is the strategy that I'm going to do. I am really strong with this strategy. I'm super confident. We saw his win ratio against Zerg is something ridiculous, like 73. And
mech is very strong. Even if you know it's coming, it's just such a powerful strategy, and it's about trying to stop it early or really find a great answer for it in the late game. But if it gets too late, like the Terran's army can be just too overwhelming if there's too many Ravens on the map or you just don't find any sort of way in.
Nice little snipe there on the supply depot. That one will burn down unless he repairs it. Oh, he's going to try to get the repair. He just barely does.
Saves it just.
Set up a couple missile turrets over there, too.
Yeah. Muta's just trying to pick away at what they can, but it's going to be very hard for Curious to get anything done. It's such a nice position for 3 bases as well for the Mech Terran. 4th base is going to be the issue, I think. It's a little further out there, and maybe Curious is going to be banking on that. When the time comes, he's going to have enough units prepared for it. Try and shut it down there.
Yeah. We were talking about this before, about how Curious is not really one who's going to try to go super all-in early on to try to end this mech. He's very confident against mech, I would think, too, because he's just sitting back. He's like, okay, you want to play this game? Here comes my 4th base. Here comes a macro hatch. I'm just going to sit back, get all the upgrades in the world, and, let's go to an hour-long game.
Yeah, and at the same time, there's really been no pressure applied to Curious past those Hellions. Like, he's had all the time in the world to just drone up as hard as he can, go into 4 bases. He hasn't taken any real damage, so right now, like, it's about him making the right choice more than anything else. He's just got to choose the right unit composition, the right time to attack, try and find the damage he can with these mutas, as well as scout the composition that MarineLord is making right now.
Mutas flying in. They are trying to go for this gas over here. It looks like he will get 1 SCV as well with the bounce damage. But overall, not that much damage, and I think he lost about 2 mutas. So
yeah. They're kind of becoming redundant at this point, and now that the Vikings have found them just idle on the map, you're going to lose a couple more. It looks like he's going to trade them out completely.
Nice little micro there by MarineLord. He's going to just barely, maybe? No, it will go down, but all the mutas will go down for just 2 Vikings.
Yeah. Probably freeing up supply at this point as well. He's already investing in a lot of Roaches, a lot of Hydras, and it looks like he might be investing in Vipers soon as well and go for that sort of attack. 4th base is going to be coming down towards the center there. Already Roaches waiting for it though.
Yeah, I think that's the idea from Curious. He did have Lings over there towards the south as well as some Roaches, but he did just move them, funnily enough. And if he can get a planetary up there and even reposition his units to defend it, could be pretty nice here for MarineLord, in fact.
It's kind of the goal behind Mech Terran is they want to get that 7th and 8th gas so they can just go max out and then create that army they desire. You see a Hellion run by here, but Lings are on point.
Yeah, good positioning here from Curious. He's got some pretty decent creep spread as well.
Once the upgrades start to kick in, for the Hellions especially, it gets very dangerous, these Hellion run-bys. We've seen a lot of Zergs in the past just lose to a few Hellions that get by and wipe out a base of drones.
Look at this, all the tanks in the middle of the map, and it looks like Curious wants to go for some kind of counter-attack.
Oh, I didn't think he's realized that there's a fourth base there, or maybe he's just looking for that third. It's hard to say. The mech is moving back though, so he's not going to find any way in, and both players are maxed out at this point.
I'm really curious to see what Curious is going to do, no pun intended. I mean, he's got this Hive now, but he hasn't really made any Hive tech.
I think he's got a few Vipers at this point, but besides that, looks like we are seeing him go into Ultralisk as well.
There we go.
No Greater Spy just yet either there. And Hellions are looking for places on the map to kill drones, but nothing just yet. It's really amazing creep spread from Curious currently.
Yeah. MarineLord's doing a good job, though, of like repositioning his army all together and clearing up a bunch of creep. But here we go. A lot of MarineLord's army is bunched up in gigantic blinding clouds on all of the tanks and the Thors in the front, and a really nice concave here from Curious at the same time.
Yeah, this is perfect. There's only about 3 or 4 active tanks right now, more at the back getting the job done, but there's no buffer for them anymore, so they're all going to get destroyed, and that completely resets the mech army of MarineLords.
Beautiful play here from MarineLord. He's at 118. Curious is going to remax here off of his 4 bases. He's making a ton of roaches and more Vipers.
Perhaps a little too early to be moving on the creep like that. Without your Vikings and scans to really spot for Vipers especially, because if they're out there and they're looking to blinding cloud your army, you better have your Vikings in place.
A couple of Banshees coming in here. No detection right now for Curious. Really need to see some Overseers with that army if they're going to move that far forward. And he's going to have to go on the retreat now.
36 roaches, about 15 Hydras it looked like. No investment into Ultralisks just yet. Just looking for that big Roach Hydra army again. Pretty even in upgrades as well. Oh, +2 attack for the Mech Terran. Going to push for this planetary, but there is a lot of tanks behind it.
Yeah, not a good idea, I think, at this point in the game. He's got to wait a little bit more. Maybe hope for MarineLord to possibly move out a little bit more on the map. We do see a nice burrowed Zergling denying that 5th base.
Very forward queen, looking for more creep spread as well. Very ambitious there, but he has identified that 5th base is there, and maybe Curious might be a little pressured to try and deal with it, because he cannot really let this many bases of Mech Terran get up. He can't allow that army to be rebuilt and maxed out again.
Yeah. The tough part is really just going to be fighting into the planetary. At this point, MarineLord is not maxed out. He's only got 2 tanks over there actually to deal with this. He's going to force a lift here, Curious will. He's going to try to go for some more of these tanks in the back. He's going for a full-fledged fight here. Not the best blinding clouds, in fact. He's really just trying to catch more of these mech units. Yeah, just wiping everything out so he can comfortably deal with this command center. If he manages to DPS it down before it flies out of range, it's going to be great. He'll have a lot more peace of mind in this position. It's like, okay, there's no 5th base going down. I do have more time to deal with him, and a huge Hellion run-by going towards that natural. This is gigantic. This is about 8 Hellions. About 6 make it through, 5 of them going towards that 3rd base. But at the same time, a nice little Roach run-by over here, trying to focus down that turret, funnily enough. But all of these drones, man, they're all going to go down. Yeah, that is so many drone kills already. That base is completely wiped out. And these Roaches not getting too much done. 2 SCVs, and they're going to get wiped out, essentially. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they got rid of a turret, 2 SCVs, maybe a couple of Hellbats, but that was about it. Maybe looking to invest in different tech this time around, Curious. Maybe you're going to start to actually invest in those Ultralisks. We do see him make 5 queens at a time right now, and that's certainly going to give me that impression, because you want a lot of transfuses for those Ultras so they do stay alive against the mech. Yeah, he's also getting the upgrades there for his Ultralisks. So we do see 5 on the way, as well as 2 Infestors in the mix. Going for another attack, maybe going to try and avoid this tank. So many tanks right now, actually. Look at this backdoor rocks. There's nothing here. Oh, yeah. For MarineLord, there's a bunch of tanks trying to siege up now, but it looks like Curious does want to jump on it. Some pretty nice blinding clouds going for the back tanks, too. And he will be able to wipe out a bunch of tanks here at that natural. That's right. The more tanks he gets rid of, the better. Even if it means he's going to throw away his entire army, he obviously wants to go into Ultras now. He wants to go into more Queens, and even Infestors at this point. If he can get rid of like a huge amount of tanks before then, it's going to make the next fight so much easier. Yeah, it definitely will. And we do see him nearly remaxing here off of his base. He's looking to also take that gold base at this point in time. It's really what you got to do against mech. You just got to take the entire map, get all the upgrades get as far high-tech as you possibly can, and then just continuously trade with them so that they can't get that maxed out mech army.
Yeah, you really just need to sit on such a huge economy. You better have like such a giant economic advantage at this point of the game, or it's just becomes so difficult, because it is by far the most cost-efficient army. You can start trading with it, keep them on 3 or 4 base, go to the late game, and invest in that perfect army that's going to crush it, then you're going to be in a great place.
I was beginning to wonder when we were going to see this kind of European mech style make its play here in game number 1. We do see 3 Ravens at a time, as well as a bunch of Vikings to protect them.
Yeah, so that air army, and it's going to do well because, I mean, look how many Ultras we have at this point. They're not going to do very well against this kind of Banshees, this Raven play. And we do see MarineLord just turtling very hardcore behind like these planetaries. There's no way he's going to be really invaded unless the perfect blinding clouds come down.
Well, we do have 6 Vikings out on the map. We'll see if they will be able to zone out the Vipers here. We do see a pretty nice spread also of the tanks by that 4th base behind the 2 planetaries to get that zoom out here. And even making turrets in the front, more CCs there just to protect even.
It's like the perfect army against a ground army of any size for the Zerg. There's no real way he's going to find a way in. I'd be surprised if he tries. Maybe he wants to go around behind.
He's thinking about it, but as you said before, it's going to be very hard.
The one redeeming thing is here for Curious is there's no 5th base going down right now. You know, he hasn't got that back base. He hasn't tried to retake it at all since the Zerg dealt with it, so he's not too pressured to do something about it. He probably already knows at this point that MarineLord is maxed out. It's just about MarineLord moving out and Curious finding that engagement finally.
Nice little Hellium run by over there at the 5th base. Only getting 7 drones in damage. Not the biggest amount of damage he could have gotten. Just going to remake those drones. This point, Curious just sitting on max, just building up that bank. He can make whatever kind of transition he wants a little bit later on in the game. 1 lone SCV going on a mission.
Yeah, and that 5th base finally got taken again. Flown to with a command center, turning into a planetary. He's actually going to make a nice sim city there as well, adding another one. It's going to be difficult for Curious to try and engage in there as well. It's such an awkward position, but he's going to try nonetheless. If he gets the blinding clouds on these tanks, they're very clumped up.
He's going for it. It looked like he hesitated there just slightly, but he will go for it here. No, he's just going to back off.
Seeker Missile's going to force him back for now. That Sky Terran's getting pretty large, you know, a lot of Ravens being added. 3 at a time, constantly, currently sitting at 6.
Yeah, 6 Ravens. Looks like 9 Vikings and 1 Banshee here at this point in the game. Again, just Curious sitting in the middle of the map trying to decide what to do.
Yeah, no doubt he was expecting this, I'd have to say. And on this map, it's a little bit harder to deal with these bases. We even saw yesterday, I think it was Curious versus Sterile, like how long that game was drawn out simply because there's no real decent way to attack into the other side of the map without going through a horrible choke.
Right now, we have the creep spread on the entire map. Pretty much anywhere where there's not Terran, there's going to be creep. And he's even looking to make it thicker. A lot of active tumors over there on the top side. There is also this island base, which MarineLord hasn't really looked towards just yet. And here we go. Curious actually going to run in here towards this planetary. Really nice position on that. It's really going to clump up those Ultras. Here come the Seeker Missiles, really going to force him back.
Yeah. No Seeker Missile hits, but he's trying. I guess at the very least it depletes the Ravens' energy for at least some time.
Yeah, I suppose you can just trade energy here. Just take the damage on your Ultras, transfuse them, and force the Seeker Missiles out.
Exactly, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see Curious take that island as well. That might be a good choice to take it sooner than later because the Terran will be looking to take that eventually. Well, that happens there. A gold base taken from Curious in the bottom left. And there's Hellbats doing some damage.
Yeah, 8 drones in damage. It looks like he just wants to remax on those drones. It clearly looks like to me at this point, Curious taking every single map on the base on the map, and he just wants to get the biggest bank possible, and maybe eventually go for a very big trade and then remax in something that can deal with the rest of the mech army.
Yeah, he's really running out of options beyond that. It's like, okay, I have to make this kind of sick army. It's going to trade with at least one part of the Terran army. Maybe it's going to wipe out the ground. Maybe it's going to wipe out the air. And from there, I'm going to remax and try and clean up whatever's left over. with the current kind of army composition, he probably wants to try and engage into the Thor tank sort of side of things, try and keep those ultras alive as long as possible, then remax on maybe some sort of air, maybe Corruptor, maybe Muter, maybe even Broodlords if the time comes. But with that kind of army, you don't really ever want to go Broodlords. The Seeker missiles are going to almost guarantee hit them a lot of the time, and Vikings are there as well.
One Viper getting a little bit too far ahead of himself, not really doing much there. Some auto turrets come down, I guess, to help the push here, focus down some of those creep tumors. It's pretty cool what you can do when you get this high a number of Ravens. Yeah, and he's continuously making only Ravens here.
It is such a scary army, and those turrets are obviously going to be blocking for these tanks and Thors, making it so much harder to engage. Looks like Curious is going to be going for it, though. He's going to try trade this out.
Yeah, the Ultra is pushing forward. A really nice blinding cloud there as well, but some tanks in the back doing a number. Some Seeker missiles also going back on the Queens in the back here. Not many Ultralists left over. They are all going to go down. The Transfuse is not really consistently coming out here. Just too much DPS.
Yeah, I'd love to know how much damage that Ultra took, actually. There was one just being focused with all the Transfuses. No doubt took thousands upon thousands of damage. Wasn't really enough, though. Curious does have more than enough to remax. And it is going to be Ultra Hydro, so he still wants to try and fight that ground army with the kind of ground army of Curiouses.
Yeah, we did see some Infestors come out a little bit earlier. Not really sure how many he's got at this point in time. Looks like 4. We haven't seen the best bungles just yet.
Yeah, he really wants to try and catch the sky part of this Terran army all clumped together, maybe when they're looking for those Seeker missiles or looking to try and pick the Vipers.
Yeah.
If he gets those money fungals and gets rid of them, like, he can even win the game from there.
It's really...
You go.
Yeah, that's really the name of the game. I mean, MarineLord has to be so careful with his Ravens. He has to get a really nice spread at all times. And looks like one of those extractors went down to the Vipers.
Yeah, it looks like it. Well, Curious going to move out again. He is maxed out once again.
Yeah, and he's still got a massive bank. I mean, look at that. It's nearly 10,000 minerals, 7,500 gas. Looks like he's looking to set up towards the natural here. At least setting up that creep once again.
Yeah, he's thinking about it. Yeah, as long as he keeps the creep there, stops the Terran from getting another base, especially a gold base at that, it's gonna really help out. Just try and slow things down. Try and starve MarineLord out, because MarineLord is in no hurry in this game at all. He's very happy just to sit here, clean up the creep.
You see Overlord drops here. He's really gonna need that for that island, but also maybe he could go into the main and drop some of the production. Wonder if that's ever an option. I guess it'll be pretty hard against this many Ravens.
It'd certainly be a good option, I would think. Like, if you get a number of Lings up there and drop into the main base, start dealing with the production, getting rid of the factory starports, it's going to create a very hard situation for MarineLord, but it's it's also investing in part of an army you don't really fight the rest of the army with. And now MarineLord's starting to edge forward once again, now that the creep's kind of starting to disappear.
Yeah, we're beginning to see the Terran creep as he creeps up here on the Zerg creep.
Yeah.
The bungle's going down, only gonna catch 3 of these Ravens. Not really enough to follow up on, though.
No, it's kind of enough just to buffer for everything else. It makes everything so difficult, and he's gonna try and commit to it once again. Curious.
Yeah, a lot of those Ravens actually bunching up here. Not really able to get the fungals, but he gets decent blinding clouds here in the front. A lot of these Ultras fighting through, just trying to get to the back line of the tanks, and the Queen's doing a decent number in the back on all those air units, but...
Look at the Seeker missiles wipe everything out of the back as well. And once again, the entire army of Curious has been annihilated. MarineLord this time, he lost barely any supply, maybe like 20, 30 supply in that whole engagement.
Look at how many Overlords just went down. He's at 136 max supply. He can't even remax and only mute us here. He's going to be stunted for so long, he's making 13 Overlords at a time.
Wow.
Here we finally see the rest of the mutas popping out, but MarineLord looking to take a critical position here in the middle of the map.
Wow, there's like 52 Mutalisks on the way. Yeah. There's still a number of Thors here, and they're heavily upgraded, so they better be Magic Box when the time comes. And it looks like MarineLord's going to pull back for now, maybe waiting to find out exactly what the next army choice of Curious is going to be to deal with this mech Deathball at this point.
Yeah. One thing for sure, as we've seen time and time again, this Euromech style, like, it's super passive. He never overextends his bounds. He's like, okay, I did some damage, let me move back, remax, get some more Ravens, or like you were saying, get something better to deal with the remax of the Zerg player, which is exactly what he's doing. He's making only Vikings and Thors and even turrets.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of more like starving the Zerg out than trying to kill the Zerg, which is a lot different to what the Korean mech Terrans will do. But look at this, a huge meter switch. He's going to be dealing with one of these bases, one of the newer ones that MarineLord absolutely needs to have.
Yeah, he does a really nice number on there, and he's actually going to try to jump on this air army. But he is going to back off once the Seeker Missiles comes out. He cannot afford to be clumped up there.
Yeah, but you know what? If the Seeker Missiles fly into the Ravens as well, targeting the mutas, that can be a huge move as well. That is a little too many Seeker Missiles there to trade out.
Yeah, Curious just going in, moving in slightly for some damage, baiting out the Seeker Missiles, moving back. His army control so far has been pretty excellent. Yeah. Really got to give it to him.
Yeah, certainly so. Not taking too much damage on these mutas. Getting rid of what he can. He's got to really avoid these Thor shots, though, because if they hit these clumped off mutas, they're going to go down very quickly.
Yeah. Also, by the way, I want to know, Curious, it seems like he was planning this for a very long time. He actually did get double Spire and double upgrades there for his mutas, so he is also at 3-3.
Yeah, it's a very good choice. It certainly seemed that way. He wanted to deal with a big chunk of that army before he went for the huge switch there. Got rid of a few of the Thors and you know, made the anti-edge just a little bit lighter. So he could go for that muta switch a little bit easier.
Now the meta's moving over here. It looks like MarineLord is trying to take this base over here, but it's totally covered up by creep. Even the SCV's trying to get to work over here.
Denying more gas, always very important against Mech Terran. Pretty much their lifeblood for the most part.
Ooh, look at this. If he could snipe a starport, it wouldn't be bad. Looks like he's going to get one. MarineLord playing a little bit passive. He doesn't have his Thors with this big air army, so he's just trying to clear the creep and deny a bit of damage.
Yeah, it's going to go for this empty, practically empty gold base. And look at that there. The income of MarineLord right now is almost non-existent.
Oh, look at this. All the mutas jumping on all of these Ravens here in the main. The Seeker Missiles are coming down, but he's going for the Ravens.
Big hits. Oh, everything getting wiped out. And that's the name of the game.
Explosions.
Yeah, that's a beautiful play there. No doubt Curious was waiting for that moment when there maybe wasn't too many Seeker Missiles. The mutas can just follow those Ravens until they explode.
Oh, and look at this. A gigantic Broodlord switch. And not many Vikings in the air to help deal with this.
No,
only Thors right now.
Absolutely perfect choice of tech switch here. He has so much money left over, though he's a bit low on gas after this investment. So he's got to make sure this one works out.
Yeah. MarineLord, though, also starving for gas. This is basically the last army he's going to have. He barely has any gas mining at this point. Hasn't retaken the base over there on the left side of the map. But look at how much stuff Curious has at this point. He's totally maxed out. Has MarineLord run out of energy here?
I think he has. He's run out of steam. You know, he's half the supply. He has no income at this point. And there's nothing really left to be done here except try and fight this army. Maybe he can get rid of it. He'll have a better shot because the gas income of Curious is very small as well. I mean, 11,000 to 900 in terms of minerals to gas.
Yeah, but the army here of Curious is just so much stronger than that of MarineLord. It looks like he wants to move in position, start taking out some bases. Some of these turrets in the middle of the map, these 4 tanks, they're only going to be used here to deal with the creep. That's pretty much all they can do at this point.
Yeah, not a bad idea to try and avoid this army now as for MarineLord. Like, look to kill bases, maybe try and cripple the economy of Curious while he slowly rebuilds his army from that from that new gold base to the north there. So that's kind of like his one last mining base. He has to keep that one alive. He's just trying to buy as much time as he can.
Yeah, he really needed that base. I wonder if he's going to think about taking the left side too. It looks like Curious is doing a bit of a siege there as well. So it will be quite some time before he can think about retaking that.
Well, slowly, Curious is moving towards this one last mining base, wiping everything out. And from here, I mean, the army's kind of cornered at this point.
There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
Nothing much
left. Too many Broodlords in the skies. The last of what MarineLord's got here on the map will be totally wiped out by the rest of the Broodlords. GG, Curious takes game number 1.
A very long-winded game there. Kind of we expected this to happen. It was very curious to see how Curious was going to deal with that as well in the late game, but He just had way too much money to play with, and MarineLord couldn't make anything happen.
That's part of what happens when, as a Terran player, you play that ultra passive mech. Like, if you never move out, the Zerg can make 55 meters, something ridiculous like that. Can make that gigantic switch into what, 15 Broodlords.
Yeah.
And eventually, the Terran is going to run out of gas, especially when you're making that many Ravens.
Literal gas. Like, he had none left over, and he needed that more than anything to build his army again. And yeah, it was really just all about suffocating the Terran. Like, it was kind of funny how it ended up happening. It was a scary army, but Curious finally found a way in with his like 4th or 5th army.
Yeah, somehow, you know, some way. We are going to be jumping into game number 2, guys, and I don't think that game number 2 is really going to be that much shorter. We'll see the map, though.
Yeah, it's going to really come down to the map more than anything else. I'm just happy there's no Deadwing in this map pool. That would actually last forever.
Yeah, we'd have this series go until like midnight and have to extend it another day or something.
Well, you know what? This map as well is going to last a while. It's going to be Cactus Valley. That's a huge macro map that one of the bigger ones we do see, and I'm sure it's going to be mech once again.
Yeah, I think it definitely will be mech here for MarineLord. I mean, he's pretty much sold that to everybody who's watching, but I wonder if Curious is going to try to mix it up. Will he try to go for some big roach play a little bit early on? We've seen that Zerg seem to like this map against Terran in general.
It is harder on this map, though, to try and go for these timings, because it is such a, like, the natural base, the choke points outside the natural and third. It's so difficult to try and engage into there if the Terran hasn't walled off or blocked up. It's hard to see Curious going for any sort of early aggression.
Yeah. You know, after what he did in that last game, I wouldn't be surprised if Curious was just like, okay, let's do that again. You know, he's here to win. He doesn't care how long these games are going to take.
Oh, certainly not. We saw that yesterday as well. He'll sit there all day long in any matchup and just wait to win that game.
Yeah. Curious, one of the most patient Korean players we have over here.
Yeah, you know, he used to be, back in the day, a few years ago, he'd love to go Broodlord Infestor, and that takes a while to get off the ground, but yeah, his games went for a long time, and he had a lot of success from it. You know, he was in Code S for a very long time in GSL, and certainly paid the bills.
That he did. As you mentioned, the map Cactus Valley here for game number 2. We're going to get this started in just a minute, folks. Just you wait.
I'm sure everyone's very riveted and cannot wait for another mech versus Curious game. It's very interesting to see how they work out. See if MarineLord wants to mix it up this time around. Maybe he's going to try it a little bit differently.
This map is going to be interesting because it is bigger. It has more bases.
Yeah.
So maybe we will see just an even longer game. Maybe to the point where, you know, MarineLord can secure maybe an extra base or two to get enough gas, and maybe we do see a bit of a better late game mech play from him in this game on this map.
He got the ideal army. It was just about, he got suffocated for a little too long, and Curious had too much of the map for too long, where it was finally like too much of a bank for him to deal with, even with that kind of army. So it's going to be harder in this map. It's got a lot more resources for both sides. It's going to be harder for MarineLord to kind of have half the map on shutdown, though, because it is very open, very large kind of map. There's a lot of avenues around, so yeah. I'm sure we're going to see Curious try and keep him on as small amount of bases as he possibly can.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing that's going to come into play on this giant map is spawning positions. If they're at cross spawns, I think we definitely go to that super long game, but maybe if it's like vertical or horizontal, we see a bit more aggressive pushing, you know, down one lane. We definitely can go for something like that. But guys, we do have the map loading up here. Finally, we are going to jump into game number 2 right now between MarineLord and Curious. It's going to be an exciting one, Moonglade.
It's going to be good, Valdez. It's going to be a long one.
Up here in the top left, in the red, the French player, the Terran player, it is MarineLord.
Losing that first game, you know, he got his way, he got that mech up and running, but it wasn't enough in the end. And up here in the top right, we do have the Zerg player up a game. It is Curious. Maybe looking to play more of the same. Doesn't really have to fix anything. All he has to do is mine enough minerals and try and suffocate the Terran player if they're going to be going for that mech style.
We are going to see the first Overlord make its way in the correct direction here for Curious. Going to be pretty nice, especially if MarineLord does go for something similar as he did in the first game, you know, going for pretty early rags and gas and get out as many Reapers, you know, 3 of them, and then switch into Hellions.
Yeah, it's certainly good on this map too. You know, it gives you as much map control as possible, try and deny as much creep as possible. Try and look for some damage, maybe try and take out a queen. Certainly didn't work out last time because those speedlings came out at the right time and crushed the army, but Maybe MarineLord will want to try and mix it up there. You know, bigger maps means you can try and hide a lot more tech. And one of the great things about, you know, Terran in general, mostly in cross-spawn positions, but maybe here as well, you can try and hide double factory blue flame hailing and go for a very early win there. Maybe you can go for something a little bit different. A lot of different avenues to go into mech.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm also just taking a look at, in these spawning positions, where exactly these guys are going to be getting like their third bases, their fourth bases, fifth bases even. It seems like 4 bases in general is okay for MarineLord. You know, if he does keep most of his stuff up there towards the top right, he's going to have to keep, like, split up his army a little bit to defend the base below his main as well. But that 5th base is going to be very far away.
Yeah.
All the way over here down in the left side of the map.
That's right. You know, this a very spread out bases past the 4 bases, which can be a problem, especially for mech. And, you know, Curious did scout that it was a CC first, but he didn't decide to go for a double hatch before pool, which is kind of a natural counter to what a lot of Zergs do if they scout the CC that early. Instead, going for that gas before pool. So maybe Curious wants to be a little bit more aggressive this time around, or maybe he wants to try and stay on that 2-base muta play. You know, tech it fast, get them out pretty quickly, take map control, apply the pressure, and play the game from there instead.
Definitely could be, and you know, just based on these positions, it's not a bad idea. I mean, even the air distance from the main is pretty close to that natural, and also just going by ground is going to be pretty easy here. I like the idea from Curious, at least.
Yeah.
See exactly what he wants to go for here in just a minute.
He's making a bunch of lings this time around as well. 6lings are going to be on the way to apply the pressure. You're not going to see a Marine come out for MarineLord.
Yeah, going up to 8, 10 lings as well as speed. Curious has got a great vision here or a great sight here at the front of MarineLord's base too. He sees only one bunker coming up, and I don't think MarineLord's even going to expect this. This is kind of a crazy build out of Curious.
Yeah, well, let's see if it does the damage that we're thinking he will. And look at that, a Baneling Nest as well. So maybe he really wants to start applying the pressure early. Go for an early Baneling bust and try and take him out that way. If the Lynx get there before the bunker finishes, that's also, you know, some great harassment. Only 2 Marines are going to be out. It's going to be very difficult for them to try and stop 4 Zerglings, but it does finish in time.
Yeah, he's going to have those 2 Marines in the bunker, as you said, and he is setting up the wall now.
Yeah, it's not the ideal wall there. You know, 4 Banelings, 5 Banelings are going to take that out completely, which can be a big problem going into this kind of style. You know, more and more Lynx coming out. Baneling that's just about to finish as well as the speed.
Yeah, and he's done such a good job of hiding this too. MarineLord, he hasn't really sent out any scouts at all, so I don't think he knows this is going to be coming his way.
Yeah, he is not scouting at all, so Curious didn't even have to do a good job of hiding it. He just had to sit outside the base and then make 5 Banelings go for the kill. And that is exactly what we're seeing here.
There's only 2 Marines out at this point in time. He's making his 3rd one right now, but here come the Banelings going straight for that wall.
Down it goes. 5 Banelings are the answer here. He's got to get up that ramp, but the Marines are going to get surrounded.
He gets the only army units here for MarineLord. He's desperately trying to get up that wall. There is 1 Marine left in the main, but look at this.
Yep, he's building some new buildings to block it off. That supply's going to go down, but it's going to be a bit harder to take out that building above it. Looks like it is an engineering base, so very difficult. Not going to find it there, but he's done a lot of damage already, and if he wants to transition from here, it'd be a pretty good idea.
Or doesn't look like he does. It doesn't look like he wants to go for that transition.
Certainly so, and it's not a bad idea as well. We are seeing MarineLord go for an extra block up here.
Yeah, it's very smart. He just barely sees that
he's
last
gonna lift his CC.
He's not lifting.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. It's burning down though. He really needs to get that repair. Is it going to be there in time?
It's going to be hard to say. You know, there's a lot of lings underneath that. It's going to be a hard time for SCVs to repair that at all.
He's trying to get the repair down here, but it's so low. It's burning down to 50 health. It looks like he should be able to get that repair though behind that wall.
Does get the repair, so he just keeps it alive. You know, he's on 3 CC, 3 orbitals at that. That is a lot of mules. MarineLord does have the worker advantage as well, so Curious, he kind of has to kill here.
He really needs to find that damage. He was going all in, but look at this wall. How are you ever going to get through there with only Banelings?
I just don't think
it's not going to work.
Yeah, it's a beautiful wall right there. It's pretty a wall of desperation, Valdez. I mean, when you see 3 engineering bays like that. But he survives for now, and from here, MarineLord is actually miles ahead.
Yeah.
He's actually miles ahead from here. All he's got to do is make enough units to deal with the speedlings below. But besides that, his economy is so far ahead.
Do we see Bio from here with this mini engineering base, or does he just go into... Is this 2-port Banshee we're about to see?
I like it. I hope it is.
This is really cool, actually.
I hope it is. And it's not a bad choice in this situation. It almost leads me to believe that MarineLord has been in this situation many times before to go for something like this.
Yep, that is one of the benefits when you pretty much only play one build against a certain race in a certain matchup. You know all the different possibilities. I'm sure he's made that emergency wall many different times.
He has, and he does it very well. Lings are going to get rid of a Hellion, but lost a lot of Lings for that. Just maintaining that contained for now while Curious tries to catch up in Workers. Still behind by 5, and not to mention Mules are going to be flying down as well. That is 5 engineering bays. Huh. I like it, but I don't understand it.
No, I don't understand it. It's cool, though.
It's great. Let's just go with it from here. It's going to be 2 Port Banshees behind this, though.
Yeah, the big thing here for Curious is getting that scout, but look at that. He just loses the closest Overlord to the main that he had.
Let's see when he wants to throw out these Banshees as well, because if he hides them and kind of builds them up, and he comes over with like 4 and there's no Spore, I think he just loses the game, so he's certainly going to lose the hatchery.
I mean, he's only got 3 Queens out here. That's really not what you're going to want more Queens at least, and of course those Spores you were mentioning. If I were MarineLord, I'd just say, okay, we sit back here, we make, 5, 7 Banshees even, and then you just go for it.
Yeah, he's going to be bio behind this, at least I hope, with 5 engineering bays, otherwise it's going to be a little bit awkward. There's only so many upgrades you can upgrade your buildings with at this point. But yeah, more and more Banshees coming out here, as well as a couple of barracks going down, so it certainly will not be the mech style. But I think the Banshees might just be the nail in the coffin here. So long as he waits for maybe a couple more, he's going to take the long route, look for those expansions by the looks of things.
Yeah, and he should be able to. I mean, Curious hasn't even put down any safe Spores. He does have 5 Queens, but they're mainly just for creep. They're out there in the middle of the map. And besides that, he just has 1 at each base. So.
Yeah, and not to mention no detection whatsoever, which is the big thing here. You see those Banshees sneaking away.
Scan going down in the bottom right.
Huh.
Does he even know where Curious is at this point?
He has no idea, Valdez.
Wow.
He has no idea at all. He hasn't scouted at all. But look at this. He's going to find the bases to the right here. That one scan gave him enough information.
Yeah. Also, the Overlord just saw the Banshees coming in, so we do see an emergency lair as well as a bunch of Spores getting up here.
Is it going to be enough, though? Because Cloak is activated, and the Spore, if he targeted it down, he could deal with it. Doesn't look like he wants to, though. Just start working on those Queens.
Yeah, just getting to work on the Queens. We do see one getting very, very low. We'll get 1 kill here, but there's Spores up, so at least he does have that detection at this point. That's going to be one key thing, as you were mentioning.
Yeah, he could actually start working, perhaps, if he wants to. Uh-oh. That's not good for this Banshee. It's going to be going down for free.
Wow.
Well, maybe for a Queen, actually, so that's not too bad.
Couple of Queens there, and another one gets really low, even.
Yes, this is what I was wondering about. He can just snipe a hatchery with this many Banshees, and it looks like he will. After doing that much Queen damage, there's not many left over to kind of fight this either. Now seeing another one go down, but 1 Banshee goes down.
Yeah, as long as he can get that detection, we do see the lair is finished. So we do see the first Overseer being morphed here. But, they're running out of energy. Even a Spore is trying to come over here, and he really just needs to get in between those Spores and try to poke down this Banshee. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to get that hatchery, in fact.
Not just yet, but more and more Banshees are being made 2 at a time, non-stop. Behind this, we are seeing Stim and a lot of Bio be coming out.
This is going to be interesting to see from MarineLord. I wonder if he just feels forced going into the bio with all the engineering base that he made, or does he really feel like this is a thing that he wants to go for? Because
I think he has a lot of options when you're this far ahead. You're so far ahead in economy. You've got a lot of tech out already. You can kind of choose to do whatever you want to do. And he decided to go for bio, which is probably the fastest option when destroying your opponent. Only Lings out right now. No Bailings in this composition, which is kind of a big mistake and a big overlook from Curious, considering it is bio. Considering he did see a lot of Marines already as well.
A bunch of Bailings morphing down there to the south. It just looks like his economy right now, he's not really able to get enough larvae out here. He's floating 700 minerals, 500 gas. He's trying to make Queens to defend against this at this point. The Banshees are going to focus down all the Banelings, and now it's only Zerglings against +1/+1 bio.
That's right, but that was a lot of Lings. Oh, those Hellions getting some big shots off as well. A lot of damage going down. And still the Banshees remain, which is the big problem here. Curious, he's staying alive for now. But
funnily enough, I wasn't actually expecting that from the fight.
Certainly not. It's going to get a little bit harder. It's still more upgrades coming in for the Bio Terran. Stim is going to be finished next time it chooses to move across the map here. And those Hellions will be Hellbats. whenever MarineLord decides it.
Yeah. They do see the bailing speed coming up here at the same time. I think he could have gotten that a little bit earlier, but I think he was just more focused on holding off the attack first. And we do see MarineLord actually grouping up for another attack. So they may be able to even hit before the bailing speed finish, and that would be pretty nice.
Yeah, it's certainly looking to be that way. We do see a huge counterattack with a lot of lings. It's going to be going into the natural.
Oh, and the supply depot does not get raised. He's going to get a surround on all of these units. Not even the Widowmines burrowing here. It looks like MarineLord was just focusing on his Banshee control back at the base of Curious.
And it's doing a lot of work as well. You know, he got rid of a lot of those queens, and there's also some Hellbats there, but trading economies now is kind of dangerous for MarineLord, actually.
Yeah, and those Banshees, you know, they were doing some early damage to the queens, but now they're only hitting the Evo chamber. He's going to eventually be able to clean this up. Curious should be able to, but back here at this base, 17 SCVs have gone down and counting.
Yeah, more and more. Curious now falling behind once again in supply. That was a very powerful move there, you know, it really brought him back just a little bit. If he can crush his army, maybe he has a chance of coming back into this properly, but I still feel like he's really fighting from behind in a big way. Not to mention combat shields, you know, +2 is on the way for the buyer as well. It's going to make things a lot harder.
Well, we do see MarineLord now bunching up here, trying to go for another attack. He's going to have the armor finished for his infantry as well as the weapons for his vehicles.
Yeah, a bit of maybe biomech style. That'd be fun, but that's so many barracks, so I don't think so at all. Just a lot of Marines looking to try and put the nail in the coffin here.
Yep, the Banshee's coming in here. Scan goes down. Banelings rolling through. A pretty nice split here.
Oh,
MarineLord also able to play at bio, it seems.
Yeah, beautiful splits there. The army's essentially gone. There's still a lot of Banelings left over, but not much else. A few mutas. If he splits fine, like he should be able to engage this perfectly.
Hellbat's getting some pretty nice shots there on a lot of those Banelings. As you said before, not much else left over. He's desperately trying to get out a lot of lings, but at this point, the parade push is so strong. There's no sign of any kind of counterattacking from Curious. He's just desperately trying to hold on here.
Trying to hold on, trying to get enough units, but he's so far behind in supply. You know, he's down 30 supply right now, and the composition is weak. The upgrades are weak. Everything is in MarineLord's favor. It's about finding that right fight. Banelings did not do enough, and there are only mutas left over here. Scan goes down. That could be the trigger for him to stim in.
Thinking about it, but he does spot those Banelings being morphed here by Curious, and they're going to roll in now on the rest of that army. But again, fantastic splits here from MarineLord. He's not really taking that much damage at all.
Yeah, some pretty big hits on the buyer there. Still enough to try and fight for this, but Curious still staying strong, still holding on here, constantly morphing new Banelings, trying to reinforce this. Another scan goes down, and MarineLord creeps a little bit further forward.
Just a little bit. The Banelings exploding there on Hellbats. There's more, though, in the back. He's not going to roll them in just yet. Every time a scan goes down, he clears up more and more of that creep. But,
both sides, like slowly, both sides' supplies are getting smaller and smaller. They're staying even in supply as well, and they're on even bases, which usually favors the Terran, but it seems like Curious is just finding the right connects with these Banelings to keep him in this game.
Yeah, just barely. We are going to see the first Thor be added to the mix, too. It's going to be pretty nice to just keep in the back and get those continuous shots on those mutas. I saw some decent snipes on Medivacs with those mutas earlier on.
He's going to expand here as his fourth base. That is interesting. That's very ambitious play. I mean, if he gets a planetary up there, then all the power to him. You know, that's going to be the best position ever.
Whatever you got to do, I suppose.
Yeah, but trying for that is going to be hard. And look at this, another counterattack. It did so much damage the first time. That is a blue flame Hellbat doing a lot of damage to these lings.
Looks like he will be able to get some of those lings through, but a lot of them are very weak. And he will eventually be able to clean them up.
Try and claim a couple of SCVs before then. 2-2 nearly finished for the Ling Bane as well. It's taken a long time to get there. Once again, we are seeing trades. Banelings onto Hellbats.
You know, even though it is Banelings onto Hellbats, he did take out all of them. A lot of those Hellbats pretty bunched up here. With the 2-2, let's see if Curious is going to be able to stop this push at least a little bit and maybe gain some ground. Think about taking a fourth base sometime soon.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Taking this fourth base here could be a huge mistake for MarineLord. Obviously, he wants to keep applying the pressure, and getting it down there means he can just keep his army there. But
he's coming in here, getting a lot of damage down. He takes out that missile turret too, and now he's into the natural. There's no missile turret here.
Doing a lot of damage, actually. 17 SCVs going down. Finally, the bio are going to push it back.
pretty unbelievable. You know, it does look like he's going very deep, but at the same time, there's enough room there in the north of this map to just hide your mutas and do some incredible damage.
Curious is getting a lot of momentum behind this as well. I mean, look at the supplies, 148 to the 120. This was the complete opposite, you know, just a few minutes ago. The mutas have found a way in. The Lings are doing a lot as well. You know, he's found that fourth base, and now he's trying to attack it with Lings.
Somehow Curious was able to pull himself back in this game. It's a pretty incredible 3-base Zerg play we're seeing from him right now.
Yeah, he is just holding on. See if he can move out of his base though, which has always been the biggest problem. He's been defending here for so long, and that's still a pretty scary bio army.
Yeah, it's all about that army here. The economy right now for MarineLord is down to 17 workers, but here we go. The Banelings are running through. They're going to try to go off creep here, but again, pretty nice splits here from MarineLord. Does he have enough, though, to really punish Curious?
Well, army supply still in favor of Curious for now. So many workers have been destroyed. It's 62 workers to 17, which is why we do see such a big supply advantage for Curious right now.
Yeah. Even the snipe there on those last 3 mules that just got dropped, that is a huge portion of MarineLord's mineral economy right now.
Yeah, at this point is almost everything. His mutas are going to get rid of the rest. He's actually going to go for a CC at this point because all the bio is so tied up protecting this fourth base. And he's going to go for the big drop into the main base here.
See what he can do. There's not much creep over there, but he doesn't really have that much of an army. A lot of these Banelings rolling in here and not much room to split. Looks like he will lift up at the last second. And at the same time, look at this.
They're just going to town on the supply, in the economy. And MarineLord's economy at this point is in shambles. He tried so hard to end this game with such an advantage defending against that Baneling all-in. But he's nearly run out of steam completely. Down to 41 supply.
GG. Curious wins game number 2. Goes ahead in the series 2-0.
Wow, I was not expecting that to happen, Valdez. Not at all.
No, I was not expecting that either.
That kind of essentially all in from Curious. He was on 3 orbitals. He had the worker lead by a long way. But still, you know, MarineLord couldn't close it out. And that must really, you know, damage your confidence going into game 3.
Oh yeah, I think it definitely has to. You do not want to go down 0-2 against anyone, and especially not against a player like Curious. We saw him go and slowly squeeze defeat the mech style of MarineLord in that game number 1, and then in game number 2, he goes for the exact opposite and all in, and even from behind, somehow able to slowly win that game.
You know, his bailing hits were just so on point. He just got him so fired. It leveled the playing field in a big way, and it almost shouldn't have, you know, considering the upgrade advantage MarineLord had, the army advantage, like there was no creep of where he was splitting his army either. Like, it's kind of surprising that it actually managed to hold out like that. Maybe he should have been going for drops into the main base, trying to split up this army a little bit more.
It was always just like a straight parade push straight into the choke where there wasn't that much room to split. He was taking some decent trades off the creep, but it was just like the macro of Curious. He was never stopping. There was never a single mistake. He never like threw away a bunch of Banelings. Also, I didn't really see that many Widow Mines in the mix.
There wasn't really much AoE besides the Hellbats. You know, Hellbats are good to a point, but you do need those Widow Mines, especially if you're going to be parade pushing like that. You want to set up shop and try and get the big hits. But he kind of just stopped with that and really focused on the Marines.
Yeah. We're going to be jumping into Game 3 here in just a minute, guys. It is going to be on Moonlight Madness.
Oh, yummy. Great map. No doubt we're going to see mech on this one, I think. You know, pretty
I think
decent.
we should.
Yeah, I think we should. I think Curious will be expecting this as well. But, I mean, what can MarineLord do? He's got to really focus on this one, man, because it's such a blow to lose that kind of game.
Yeah, I wasn't really expecting it to be this one-sided either. I mean, MarineLord is playing great, don't get me wrong. He's sticking in these games. He's really showing us a great performance, but as it stands right now in the series, down 0-2, he really just needs to grab it together. Just take one game at a time, because if he loses one more, he's going to be out of this tournament.
That's right. He's got to be Curious 3 times in a row now. Curious has a lot of space to do whatever he wants in these games. He can maybe try experiment a little bit, try and maybe kill him early if he's going to go for the mech style, maybe throw caution to the wind here. Maybe go for another Ling Banal, and it seemed to work out in the end last time, despite how little damage it did initially.
Yeah, I'd be very interested to see what he's going to do here on this map. At that natural in the front, there's a pretty small choke, so as long as you can get out, like, maybe even one tank, you can do a decent job of holding off any of these Zerg all-ins. But also those back doors, you know, there's 2 entrances into the back door. Maybe Curious tries to go for that.
It's going to always make it a little bit harder to defend, right? Because if you can't really have your army covering 2 bases, you got to have it one way or the other.
For sure. But guys, Game 3 is loaded up. Let's jump into it right now. And And up here in the top right, in the red, our Terran player down 0-2. He is MarineLord.
Has to win this game to stay in the tournament. And has to win 2 more to win and go to the next round. Down here in the bottom left, it is the blue Zerg player, Curious.
Playing fantastically today. You really got to hand it to him.
Yeah, certainly came in here prepared for this kind of style that he's up against. Tried in that last game just end things early. Didn't work out, but apparently doesn't matter how far behind he gets.
He was one of these guys, you were even backing this guy for a long time, even since like the round of 64. You thought this guy could go very, very far. And now he's in a great position to get even into the semifinals here.
Yes, certainly so. I'm not really entirely surprised Curious can do this. You know, he's been such a great contender in GSL. We've seen him recently over at Star League, I believe. You know, he does still have what it takes. He can still show great games. In this kind of tournament, I do believe he can go all the way.
I wouldn't be too surprised. On the other side of the bracket is Patience. And Curious has shown some pretty good CVP in the past, so I'm sure he's going to be pretty happy if he makes it through here.
Certainly so. Patience very dangerous, though, as we did see him against Fantasy. You know, he's got a lot of all-ins to do.
For sure. And also, I think MarineLord, if he's somehow able to pull this off 3 wins in a row and he does go to the semifinals, he said before he does not want to play in a TVT against any of these Korean Terrans. So Gumiho knocked out by Patience, Fantasy knocked out by Patience.
I don't think he would really want to play against Patience at this point. Yeah,
I think he would enjoy playing against Patience compared to like Fantasy or Gumiho.
Yeah, but I mean, Patience just seems to be so good at dealing with Terrans at this point. It's kind of a... I don't know. Maybe he can do it. Maybe he can do what Fantasy couldn't.
To be honest, I haven't seen enough of MarineLord's TVP, so I can't really be an expert on this topic, but we'll see who makes it through here in the first sense. We do see MarineLord is going to start off this time with the CC first.
Yeah, this time around. Not a bad choice for the map here. Curious going to see it very early on here, but he's going for that same kind of build, you know, gas before pool. Maybe a little bit later this time. And he's just going to simply go for that same kind of style. I wonder if he's going to try and apply the aggression early on this time or play for the later game.
Maybe he could just go for something really aggressive once again. I mean, we saw him get so far behind but still hold on somehow for a very long time. We've seen it before. Like, Curious is one of the best defensive Zergs we have in the world. So, you know, maybe he just does go for it. We said it before. He's up 2 games to 0 here. He really has all the freedom to do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, he's got a lot of space to make mistakes, so he can throw caution to the wind. Go for that aggression once again. Or maybe he just wants to clean sweep and, you know, save his energy for the next match.
Yeah, could be. We don't really see that gigantic swell of Lings this time around, but he is going to get Ling's speed. Although he did just cancel it, so...
Maybe not this time. Maybe he was looking for that very quick lair. We'll see. Soon find out. Or maybe he just wants to be extremely greedy behind this. Gonna get that 3rd queen out as well. So keep on droning for now.
You know, you were talking about in game number 2 how he could go for that Muta style. I think this map is actually fantastic for that kind of style. You can defend here on 2 bases pretty nicely, and these bases are so spread out for the Terran. You got the one all the way in the back, you got the natural here. There's so much room behind the bases also to maneuver your Mutas. And it's also really good against the recent style we've been seeing from a lot of Terrans that MarineLord isn't actually doing, which is getting that tank drop on the high ground.
Yeah, certainly so. It would make a lot of sense. And I mean, look at that. A very quick lair already. I would not be surprised if we do see Mutas behind this because of that reason alone. You know, Moonlight Man is notorious for that tank drop on your main base there. You want to really make sure that never happens. I'm not sure if, MarineLord will really want to go for it though. We'll see what he's going to invest in here. Not seeing that starport on the way.
Yeah,
Tech Lab on the factory. And there's going to be a tank and Marines behind us, so he is going to go for that very style that we've been talking about here. Going to be trying and drop that right extractor there on that little high ground.
Yeah, I'm just worried for him here because Curious has gotten the full scout with one of his overlords. He did sacrifice it, and he is going for this very, very quick lair. It's going to be one of those like 630 spires here, I believe. He's already taken all the gases at both of his bases.
Pretty much the only option you have to kind of deal with this. I think maybe every Zerg is going to be doing this style on this map for some time. And behind it, I wonder if we're going to see an engineering bay go down and maybe some turrets, because that's exactly what we saw Flash do, I believe it was.
Yeah.
In the Kesper Cup.
I believe so.
Yeah, and it really kept that drop going for a lot longer. Like, the tanks cannot really be focused down without the mutas taking an incredible amount of damage. But we'll see. For now, loading it up, heading towards.
Looks like it's just 4 Marines and 1 tank going to be dropped over here on the high ground.
Yeah.
I don't believe there was an SCV in that drop, at least.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I don't think so.
Yeah, okay, only Marines here.
Yeah, so maybe he's going to follow up with a second drop, as which we saw Flash do that as well. Curious, though, he's kind of waiting for it, spreading creep around the area. And, oh, look at this. It's actually going to try and cancel the third, and he does.
Yeah, not a bad idea. I mean, he does know that Curious saw this coming in, so he's like, okay, I can just grab the cancel on the third instead. Maybe just go for a push. He's got to be careful about how far he goes.
Yeah, he's already taken a lot of damage on this medivac. His 3 Queens doing a lot. Trading with Marines. Only 1 Marine goes down there. And he's actually not going to commit to it any further.
Yeah, this is a pretty decent trade, actually, from MarineLord. He doesn't get that tank drop on the high ground, but you know, he does at least get a decent trade there with the Lings.
Yeah, I wonder if it really is worth it, like, what he did there. Like, is the damage worth going into tanks like this? I mean, I guess if you're going into mech behind this, it's perfectly fine. I believe that's what we're going to see, but we are still seeing Marines being invested in.
Yeah, we do already have 1 engineering bay out, and he's making a second one.
Okay.
But he does also have the armory, so it's pretty interesting. He is also getting the +1. Maybe we will be seeing that kind of biomech style you were alluding to earlier on.
Yeah, it could very well be. You know, Thor on the way, a couple of tanks already out, so he's set up to do that kind of style. He needs to start upgrading more Marines. He wants to keep at it, but look at this. Mutas are on the way. We're taking a hit from these Thors. The Thor.
I think there's only also 1 Viking out on that. This is pretty cute. He can knock down these rocks, delay that third base a bit more. Looks like he's going to catch this Viking, though, in the meantime. Just barely not able to, and he's actually going to lose a muta for it. Been unfortunate there.
Behind this, he is taking that third base. Curious, up to the north. Not finding too much at all with these mutas, but I guess he's kind of keeping the Terran in his base. He gets to see exactly what kind of composition he's going for. Though I think right now, Curious is probably a little confused. He's like, well, what are you doing? I see a Thor out, I see tanks, I see a Viking, but you're going for bio as well. You got Stim on the way, +1/1. Oh, yeah, so it is a bit of a mix-up.
Yeah, it's funny. He saw the tech lab there on the racks, but he didn't see anything upgrading at the time when he passed by. But it seems like he's making the assumption, like, okay, you are going to at least make a decent number of bio units here, as we do see by his melee upgrades as well as the baneling speed. And now he's going to fly by once again and just get the confirmation there.
Yeah, starts to make a lot more mutas behind this as well. So he's setting up very nicely for it. Creep spread is going fantastically for Curious. And he's saturated that third base up pretty decently. You know, he's got the gas there, still a few more drones to go. And he's going to start taking down these debris and really open up the pathways to that newly put down third base. Can be pretty exposed when they are destroyed.
Gonna come in here and trade with some of those Marines. Unfortunately, no turret up here just yet, so MarineLord losing a lot of his Marines in the main.
Yeah, he lost a lot of Marines, and even getting the Viking, I think you might have lost 1 muta there. Wasn't too bad at all.
Yeah, maybe 1 or 2, but regardless, getting some really efficient trades here is Curious. Looking great in this game once again. Opening up those back rocks is going to be very annoying for MarineLord. He's going to have to keep a lot of tanks over there by his third base in the back.
And look at that. The mutas can actually deal with those destructible rocks at some point as well and close it off. So when he finally does want to go for the big attack, he can cut off the Terran's reinforcements for some time and try and take out that base.
That's pretty cool. We do see for the first time here, MarineLord is going to go pretty heavy on the Widow Mines. One thing we said that we didn't really see in game number 2, maybe he's identified that mistake and he wants to go for it here in game number 3.
Yeah, he's certainly going to have a lot of Widow Mines with 2 factories pumping them. And it's going to do well against the composition of what we see from Curious, just Ling, Bane, Meter. And look at that. Lings are in position to go for kind of a counterattack if MarineLord moves out. It's a nice little supply depot wall as well. That's a lot of supplies, but look at this. They're not up currently, and Lings are going to try and run in.
Yeah, baiting that Terran army a little bit out of position with the mutas, but it looks like it will be back in time to defend against this.
Not finding enough here. He knows the kind of composition as well. That is a lot of Marines, and he's kind of singled out a bunch of them.
Look at this, the targets on the medevacs even. Just fighting against straight up Marines with all these Lings. He's actually able to clean up a huge amount of them.
Yeah, he shaved off a giant chunk there. Going into 2-2 as well, both sides. And you know, he's got to be worried about a parade push because the third base of Marine Lords to the third base of Curious's. There's a pretty short pathway there. Creep spread isn't too far forward either. So if he gets a nice sort of position, plants the Widow Mines nicely, spreads out well, maybe he can actually try and take out this base. Not a bad place for it. A couple of tanks as well. Going to stim forward and start working on the Queen.
It's really hard to deal with this as Zerg. That tiny little ramp, you can get a bunch of tanks in position, but it looks like Curious wants to stop it right here. The Banelings rolling in, a lot of them hitting the Thor.
Oh yeah, but the Marines are split up enough and a lot of them go down. Only a couple Thors left over to defend against these mutas.
I think it might be enough. He's trying to max his box here. A lot of his mute is very, very low. He snipes one of them and he is going to move out. But still a pretty strong push coming out here from MarineLord.
Yeah, not too bad, but he's got to start getting rid of this creep if he wants to keep it going. And it doesn't look like he does, so he's going to pack up and head home.
A lot of his mech units are pretty low, too. I think he wants to send them home, repair a bit. He's going to have 2-2 lining up for his infantry, as well as +2 weapons for his vehicles. So, maybe come back here, to, group up once again, get the repair, and then go for another push.
Yeah, but it's giving Curious so much time to just remake his army, make it even bigger. Picking off the last tank as well, that's going to help out with the Banelings. And the creep's going to get further ahead as well. It's going to be a lot more of a comfortable defense this time around, I think.
Oh yeah, Curious just waiting. He's making so many Banelings now. He's already got so many of them. And, just coming in here, scanning up a bit. He's trying to get those splits here. Let's see how good he can do them. One Thor in the front, trying to get that tank, but so many Lings running forward, baiting that Widowmine shot into a bunch of the Marines.
Yeah, some of those Widowmine hits were absolutely huge there. So there's a little bit of a timing. MarineLord can go for this. A lot of Lings coming back and a lot more reinforcements and Banelings. Another big Widowmine hit, though, gets rid of a lot of those Lings.
Yeah, it looks like he may want to come in here. That Thor is very low, but nice micro there. He's going to pick up that Thor. It's going to be in the back. But does Curious have enough to end this attack? He's lost so many of his mutas at this point.
So many MarineLord holding on just. Lives are even at this point as well. 3-3 is being upgraded for MarineLord, which is going to give him another very powerful advantage in this game. And if he can get this fourth base down, then the game lasts for another 5 minutes regardless. When Terran has that economy on 4 base up against this kind of this style like Bio versus Lingbane Muter, the game goes for so much longer. It becomes so much harder for the Zerg to win it. Great position for MarineLord right now.
Trying now to clean up some of that creep once again. Curious has been so consistent with the creep all over the map, super thick. It's so hard for MarineLord ever to go too far just because he keeps on replenishing it.
Creep is very important in this kind of situation, dealing with parade pushes, or bio in general. The more creep you have, the better you can defend, much easier as well.
Lane's trying to take a fight there alone. Wasn't really going to work out. He just backed off. Just trying to morph as many Banes, it seems here. Try to get out some mutas as well.
Look at this. Fourth base is going to be up. The planetary is going to finish. A great spread for MarineLord as well. He's waiting for that 3-3 to finish. It's so close to being done, and then I think he will start the pressure onto the creep once again.
Yeah, the upgrading here from MarineLord has been pretty impressive in this game, just across the board, getting those 3 upgrades pretty consistently here. Now he's got a fantastic split. He's got half on the creep and a bunch in the back. Trying to bait out those Widowmine hits onto a bunch of these Banelings, try to force these very efficient trades against the Zerg.
Oh, nice pick up there, avoiding those Banelings. And look at that, 3-3 is finished now. And even +3 weapons, so this Thor is going to be doing sick damage against the Muta.
Oh yeah, and all those mutas are so low at this point. A lot of the Banelings lie in wait up here. Let's see the Widowmine shots. Can they be pretty good? The first one is pretty decent, but he's fighting off the creep here now. Will there be enough Banelings to clear up everything that MarineLord has here?
Well, nearly so. MarineLord getting pushed back. Some great engagements there from Curious. Some good bailing hits. Curious is kind of pressed to really do the damage now. 5th base up for him, but he's still on lair tech. He's still on 2-2, and it doesn't look like he has any desire to go past that. So he really needs to get the job done soon, or the game just gets even harder.
Yeah, and it even looks like at this point, MarineLord thinking about an even closer base, as you guys see right here. And setting up a really forward position to attack from. He's like literally right next to the 3rd base of Curious.
That's right. The more forward, the better for the Terran. It just means their staging ground is further up. He can start to apply the pressure a lot more and defend the new bases a lot easier. And finally, something we haven't really been seeing much of is MarineLord going for more drops. Curious has been completely focused on this base, but hold on a second. We are going to go for another big attack here.
The Baneling's rolling in. Is he just going to go for the planetary? It doesn't really look like it. He's trying to roll into those Marines, but a pretty good split. That CC getting super low. It looks like it will go down. But is there enough to clean up the Marines on the ground?
Oh, looks like there is. There's more Banelings coming in and a lot more Lings streaming from Curious's base. He's going to be cleaning up this 5th base as well as the entire army of MarineLord.
Oh man, these fights so close. That one Widow Mine, the shot is pretty decent. And a lot of these mutas fighting alone now. I think Curious just overextending a little bit here.
That's right, just a little too much. But now finally a drop from MarineLord going to be on the map down south. And you know, this base is completely vulnerable. Curious has been focused on 1 point and 1 point alone this entire game, which is defending the 3rd and pressing forward.
Yeah. And that's what Curious is really good at. We talked about his really great defense, but part of it was the MarineLord making it pretty easy for Curious to defend in that one lane. Look at this. He's just going to get the hatchery for free, essentially. Yeah,
there's been some serious tunnel vision in this game, and MarineLord was the one to kind of drift away from it finally. Taking out that base, he's actually getting pretty far ahead at this point in terms of economy. He's just got to be careful with his army, because Curious is going to be looking to wipe it out and try and deal with that new base.
Like the push is coming down once again onto that 3rd base. He's never really been able to get too forward of a position to take out the base, but he's looking to set up even some turrets now, as he was able to draw the army of Curious out of position. But it looks like Curious is going to go for a gigantic counterattack at this point. Not even going to deal with the army of the Terran here.
No, and this is good for this kind of map. I mean, look where all the units are going. They're completely out of position here. The only problem is that this base has been mined out, so there's not really going to be much economic damage whatsoever. But if you can get it on top of the production, that's going to do a lot.
It's really about the production. We do see some Marines back here for MarineLord, but he's not splitting them too well. So much Zerg in the main base of the Terran at this point. MarineLord is drawing everything back to deal with this.
Oh man, is he actually going to kill that rock as well? He's going to kill down the destructible rock, so it's going to give him even more time in the main base.
Look at this. It looks like he's going to be able to get a starport here. He's camping on top of the production at the same time, so all the Marines that pop out are instantly being killed.
That's right. Looks like finally the Ling Bane have been wiped out, so the mutas are going to have to be a little bit more careful. Behind this, Curious is just going to be remaxing. He's going to get as many Ling Bane out as he can to avoid any sort of counterattack damage that MarineLord will be looking for.
Yeah. That move was really nice by Curious. He does lose the base, but at the same time, he does grab another one there on the right side of the map, it looks like. He's got to be really careful about flying his mutas straight over this army, though.
The drones, they've been spotted, so he knows exactly where that base is, and he's going to lose a lot to these bio as well.
Seeing a bunch of Banelings morphing over here, but the huge bio ball looking to crush that small drone army over there.
That is a scary army, Valdez. I mean, look at the army supplies right now. You see MarineLord up 30 supply, so I don't think Curious is really focused at all on dealing with the army anymore. He's simply going to be going for these counterattacks while he tries to make enough Banelings on creep to trade efficiently with it.
See what he'll be able to do, and if MarineLord can defend well enough against this. MarineLord looks like he's sending half of his army almost? No, he's actually going to totally go back with his entire army to defend against this.
A lot of mutas out at this point too. I think Curious made a ton more, sitting at 20 mutas, so not a bad choice. But you might want to think about dealing with this base with the planetary there.
At the same time, I mean, Curious really doesn't have much mining left in this game. He's got those 2 early bases, but they're pretty much mined out at this point. He really needs to do critical damage here, but it doesn't look like he should be able to. MarineLord has brought everything back to deal with these mutas.
He's kind of surrounded at this point too, flying over bio, and he might be close to tapping out. You know, he's running out of steam.
A bunch of these Marauders running in, so Curious is going to be able to take them out. And MarineLord has been supply blocked for quite some time. Look at how much gas he's floating here. I'm sure he'd actually be pretty happy with a bunch of those SCVs going down. He needs some supply here.
Yeah, a lot of SCVs going down at that base as well. But still, that is another mining base. Mules can fly down there at any point to kind of help bolster those numbers and help out the economy. A lot of Banelings waiting, actually.
Not that many links to support. Let's see if the Widow Mines are just going to fly in here and just get blown up instantly.
Not the best positioning on them. There's still a lot of bio behind this, and they are 3-3.
Banelings rolling in, nothing to tank for them. Some drones in the back trying to distract. It's not really going to work out here. A gigantic Marine ball there. But look at this, there's no turrets over that last mining base. Or at least the second to last mining base there of MarineLord. Let's see if the Banelings can connect. Pretty decent connects here in the beginning, but a lot of bio remains.
A lot of bio remain, and some of those Marauders too, they soaked up a lot of the Baneling heads, and there's not enough Banes left over to kind of try and wipe out the rest of it. If he could though, that would be a huge move, and it might even win him the game, but MarineLord's going to be very careful at this point.
Yeah, oh man, look at all these Banelings being targeted down. MarineLord could be looking at his first win here. He has pretty much no mining left, though, at this point. What do you think about the armies, though, here? I feel like MarineLord's is quite a bit better.
MarineLord's is essentially double the size. He should be fine so long as he's careful of Banelings at this point. There's not really that many Banelings left over either. So it really comes down to like a couple of Baneling hits that could be detrimental and the Mutalisk. But so long as he keeps splitting, there's really no way MarineLord should lose this game.
Looks like Curious is going to try to delay and to try to start mining back here at his last backdoor base. Maybe try to take some decent trades against the Marines. Because at this point, MarineLord is not mining at all. He needs to end this game. But Curious is just going to try to delay it as much as possible.
Picking off some Marines as well. He's actually doing a great job shaving off the numbers. They're not too far apart in supply at this point as well, you know. Only 66 army supply to 47 to Curious, and there are Banelings in play here. If they get the hits on a big clump of these Marines, maybe he finds a way in.
Yeah, but I'm sure MarineLord is really going to be looking towards that. There's only 4 Banelings here.
There's no healing for the Marines either, Valdez, which is a huge thing we haven't noted on. No medivacs, so every stim is like just doing a little bit more. And here we go, looking for that one last fight. He's trying.
Like he really can't take it at this point. Some of the Lings coming back, and the Banelings are going to roll through, but it was only 4, and now he's just fighting with only Marines. GG! MarineLord wins his first game here, finally, in this series.
Very well done there from MarineLord. Finally taps him out, but that was a very back and forth game.
Oh yeah, that
really
could have gone either way.
Wire, yeah.
It really could have. MarineLord maybe with that win can get some momentum going in here.
Certainly looks good. And then, you know what? He didn't use mech, which is something we should also talk about. You know, we talk a lot about mech going into this, but I guess he just doesn't have to use it after all. Maybe he can stick with his bio style.
Maybe he was just saying that and he was actually planning on using a lot of bio here, just maybe to throw Curious off, because Curious is in fact quite good against mech, and maybe in that first game MarineLord saw what Curious could do and he's like, oh, maybe I can't play that style, maybe I do have to mix it up.
Yeah, well, I think you should probably mix it up a little bit more, because I was very impressed with the bio.
Yeah, it was
a lot of work.
Really nice play, in fact, especially once he added it in the Widow Mines. I feel like that's near the top, at least for Terran players.
It was so interesting how the game started out as well. You know, he canceled the third base of Curious, but he didn't really do any other damage with that tank drop, which was looking to drop on the ledge and try and, you know, kill that extractor and maybe apply damage to the drones. We've seen other players do a lot more with that kind of drop, but instead he chose to, you know, turn around and just play a normal macro game from there. I almost thought that he would be behind because of that, but he still played a very strong game.
He was able to stick in it for a long time. Like, he wasn't scared to go to that mid and later game with the bio, which is pretty interesting to see. Guys, we're going to jump into Iron Fortress here for map number 4 in just a moment's time. What do you think about this map for ZVT?
So it's going to be a bit harder for mech as well. I'd be very surprised if we see MarineLord go for that kind of style. I would like to see him go for the bio again. He looked great with the bio.
Yeah.
It's the bases are so far apart on this kind of map that, you know, trying to secure it against a Zerg that's looking to destroy mech, it's almost impossible. You know, that fourth base especially, out in the middle of nowhere.
We saw actually Flash try to do this against Sue in the Kespa Cup recently. I think it was the semifinals. It was like he tried to make this big mech army, but it was way too spread out, and Sue just went for a big Roach Hydra timing, maxed out, and just crushed it. So
yeah, you have to
I'm definitely agreeing with you here.
Have to cover way too much, too many bases for mech to really be viable on this kind of map.
Yeah. So MarineLord winning that last game, I'm sure the fans are pretty happy with that one, but can he continue with that? Do you think he's going to gain some momentum from here? Do you think he can actually win this one against Curious?
I think it's a lot of weight off his shoulders, you know. You can feel a little bit more comfortable. It's like, okay, I've taken a game off him. It was a long macro game. It was, you know, he went the distance and he used bio instead of mech. I think he should be feeling a little bit more relieved now. Maybe he can start to get into his groove again, because it's still, you know, he's got to win 2 more games to knock Curious out. And that's a long way to go.
Yeah. Well, Iron Fortress, the map here. We'll see what he'll be able to do. I wonder if Curious is thinking about, you know, does he go very aggressive again? It worked for him in game number 2, at least for getting somewhat of a position there, at least throwing MarineLord possibly off of his game.
I think to an extent. I wouldn't mind seeing him go for early mutas again. You know, that's a great way for Zerg to start any sort of matchup. against Terran, you know, on any sort of map.
Yeah.
It gives you a lot of map control, and you can go for extra bases after that very
for sure.
easily.
We've been seeing it a little bit more recently in the ZBD, especially over in Korea. It's beginning to come back more into the meta, become more regular at least. And also on this map, even for Zergs, the third base is pretty far away, so can be pretty, you know, vulnerable to drops and stuff like that if the Terran is going for bio.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see exactly how Curious wants to play it there. A lot of avenues of aggression on this kind of map.
Yeah, really curious to see what's going to go on here in this game. But guys, we're about to jump into game number 4 here. It is on Iron Fortress. The players are loading up. I want you guys to get excited for this 4th match here. Do you think Curious is going to be able to end it here? Or will MarineLord force a game number 5? We've already had one big best of 5 series. We'll see if they can force it once again. Let's jump into the game. Down here in the bottom right, in the red, our Terran player, the Far and Hope, it is MarineLord.
And down here in the bottom left, we do have the blue Zerg player looking to close things out here. It is Curious. See if he can do it this time around. He's come close a couple of times here. Got really pushed last game there. You know, he went the distance and he ended up losing. Really went down to the wire there.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see like that straight up kind of bio play against Zerg on that map, because kind of the way the Korean Terrans are playing, they're just going for like these big tank pushes towards the third base. Even Maru going for this very interesting like heavy air style with some mech added in there against the Zerg. But the bio play seemed to work out decently as well, especially once you begin to throw in some of those drops. Like the second MarineLord went for that first drop and took out the hatchery, that was like the first domino that fell.
Exactly. You know, it was something that, it was like in this kind of matchup, tunnel vision can happen a lot. Like the players are completely focused on defending a base and parade pushing a base, and it can last for a long time, as it did last game. And finally, when MarineLord kind of was like, okay, I have some space here, I'm going to go for that drop down south while I continue this parade push, everything gets messed up for Curious. He was not expecting that at all. He was completely focused on defending, so he had nothing in place for it. And yeah, it's certainly one of the powerful tools that Terran has to try and take a Zerg apart is multitasking with drops.
Yeah. We do see MarineLord going for this 11-11 builds once again with the racks and the gas. He is going to get out that very fast Reaper here. We do see on the other side of things, Curious getting down that hatchery in the pool. And going for a cross-spawn scout, actually.
Yeah, that was interesting. Very early scout, afraid of perhaps G's on the map. MarineLord not going to have any of it there. So Curious takes a little hit there with his economy, throwing out that drone that early. Maybe the Reaper has a little bit more time in base to start shooting drones and creating a little bit more of havoc. Still that pool on a while away, and that Reaper is out and running.
Yeah, that is the first Reaper. It looks like MarineLord with this build will continue to build those Reapers. And even a bunker going to go down here. It is on the edge of the vision here. Curious is not going to see it.
Well, it's gonna create a little bit more time, a little bit more room for MarineLord to do harassment, but I don't think it's really going to force too much out of Curious here. Curious will have to make maybe a few more lings, and behind that, wait for the Queen to help deal with it. But beyond that, I'd be surprised if Curious takes too much damage.
Almost losing the drone there, but nicely done to save that. The bunker does finish up. Can go back to that. Gonna snipe one of those lings there, and the second Reaper is gonna join the first Reaper, so could begin to put on some decent harass here in the main.
Certainly so. Yeah, he's got to be careful. That Queen's about to pop out. It does delay MarineLord's command center as well, though, so he does take a little tiny economic hit for that. But let's see how much damage he can get done with this bunker to help out.
Nice micro there. He's going to pull back that very weak Reaper to heal in the bunker. Just sitting back there now. Third Reaper is out, waiting for any lings that may come to his base.
Yeah, he's got to babysit that command center for just a little while in case a couple lings come out and force the SCV to run away or die, and then the command center is so delayed. He's just waiting, for the Reapers to heal up inside the bunker, but that's a lot of lings and a couple of Queens to help deal with it. There's no real way it's going to stick around.
Nice little micro there, trying to get as much repair down as possible. And he does kill a decent amount of lings, and he will get away with these two Reapers, so not a bad trade here for MarineLord.
No salvage on that bunker, though, so he does lose that 100 minerals as well. here, you know, Curious just has to keep droning up as hard as he can. Speed is almost finished as well, so Lings are going to come out into the map, maybe start applying pressure, maybe try and go for a couple of SCV kills if no Hellions are out. Certainly made a couple of extra of them, so he's going to be looking to do damage with them.
Yeah, for sure. We do see MarineLord on the back of this build, of course, getting a lot of map control with that. He's going to go for double CC. He's already got one of them landed down there, another one making in the main.
Behind that, just a couple of Hellions on the way. Lings are going to reach the expansion, see it's upgrading, but not much he can do against 3 Reapers like this. Now that 2 Hellions are out, he's going to probably move out to the map once again, look for the Lings, maybe try and apply pressure, stop the creep from spreading.
These Lings not going to really do much damage. Nice cleanup there by MarineLord. And let's see if he decides to go push there. Looks like he will. Wants to scout when that third base is coming up and maybe even find some damage. We do have a follow-up of 2 more Hellions as well as Banshees on the way.
Yeah. Kind of the norm on this map. It is such an open map. Kind of like merry-go-round in a sense where you have so much open spaces outside your natural and including your natural that you can have a lot more room to run around and look for damage with these Hellions.
That last second transfuse saving that Queen. Very, very close there. But still, MarineLord, he's not going to be able to heal up those Hellions unless he goes back home. He's got to be careful. He doesn't really want to lose these units. He wants to have that like consistent presence on the map and just continuously force out the multitasking of Curious.
Yeah, he's certainly looking to try and deal with these creep tumors, but there's a lot of Queens out for Curious right now. Very smartly done. You know, he knows that there's going to be a lot of pressure on the map from these Hellion and Reapers to stop him from creep spreading. But making that many, it's also going to help out a lot against these Banshees.
Interesting here. We are going to see MarineLord going for bio, just like you were saying. You know, it's so hard to make mech work on this map, so we are going to get another treat of MarineLord's bio. Very happy about this.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense as well. Not bad positions for it either, you know. If it was cross-map, it'd be a little bit harder, but, you know, because they are horizontal, it's going to make the parade push that much easier.
Had a split second there where he may have been able to get into the mineral line, but not really capitalizing on it. He's going to come back here into the natural mineral line with that Banshee, get 2 kills, maybe 3. He's getting really low with that Banshee, though. Oh, just barely going to get away.
Yeah, if that Queen was attacking, like, there would have been a good shot at him killing that Banshee and shutting that down completely. Still, you know, 3 drones is pretty decent. Going to go back and heal.
For sure, just adding the barracks here, looks like. For MarineLord, getting that production up.
Going to be on point with this. The Lynx attacked the front Marine. If he wasn't paying attention, the Lynx could just get into the main base. Not many Zergs look for that there.
Curious now, trying to see when this third base is going to come down. He sees it floating over there. 1 Viking on the map. I always like this, regardless what kind of build you are going to go for. It's pretty good to just clear the overlords, make your drops even a little bit stronger a little bit later on in the game.
Yeah. Removing all the vision you can from the Zerg on the map, it just makes it so much easier. Zerg already has enough vision with those creep tumors on the map, so denying all overlords, scouting extra bases with that Viking just gives you a lot more peace of mind.
Curious rage making 7 overlords here, as is a common strat amongst Zergs.
Yeah, if you forget about them, you better make a lot of them at once through anger. It's a perfect strategy.
We do see this third base getting down here, and notice how defensive MarineLord is being with that. He knocks down the tower there, and he's also making a little supply depot while getting up his turret in very nice timing too.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to try and wall off this kind of map. You know, SimCity is good and all, but you have to invest so much. As we did see him invest as well on Moonlight Man, it's like 10 supply depots in a row to wall off the third base. Here it's going to be a lot of the same. But it did its job, and this time around we are seeing a very similar build from MarineLord, but here we go. Double drop into that natural.
Yeah, a lot of Marines coming down here, but Lings are in position to clean this up. Baneling's going to roll in as well, and it will be pushed back. Not getting all that much damage down.
Yeah, not too much at all. And now the 4th base for Curious, a very important point on the map. It's so hard for MarineLord to try and engage into that because of that creep spread on the map as well. It's already reaching the center of the map. It's going to be so hard. He's got to start to clean this up soon. He might start to use that double drop to do that, and it looks like he will.
He's trying to. Getting a decent position, but he's going to have to pick up here. Just way too much Zerg.
So many Link Bane.
One thing Funkus trying to point out to us, he does have the armory and the 2 engineering bays, but the upgrade's slightly late there, maybe 10-15 seconds. Could have definitely gotten them out a little bit earlier.
Now the parade push begins, Valdez. He's going to start moving onto the creep. You're going to see a scan go down in just a second as he set up these mines. Got to make sure he spreads well, because that is a lot of Ling Bane.
Yeah. So many Lings, even more so than the Banes. Just trying to push forward and get this around here, it seems.
Now we are
still out on the map.
Yeah, 11 mutas on the way now, Valdez. So he's finally getting to that muta tech. It's going to make it a lot harder for the Terran to move out as well. They're going to be looking for a lot of harassment potential. This drop might have a hard time finding its target as well.
Pushing forward now. A really nice spread here on all the Widowmines, but not the best hits. Yeah. A lot of them actually being triggered there on a small amount of Lings.
Nice splitting by Curious, but here we go. Another drop into the natural. This time, nothing there to really deal with it.
Oh, he's going to draw the entire army of Curious out of position. But he's not really taking position in the middle of the map at the same time. Usually you want to draw all the units back from the Zerg, move out, try to clear out the creep a little bit, but MarineLord kind of just sitting there.
Yeah, it's always a decoy move when you do that. It always gives the Terran an opportunity to move on the creep, throw down a scan, stop getting rid of the creep tumors, and get a better position on the map. But so MarineLord just wanted to wait a little bit longer, wait for those mines to reset, maybe wait for the upgrades to complete. He's still waiting for combat shields, so that's a pretty important one to wait for.
Yep. Well, here we go. The Lings coming forward, but they're not going to go too far. They don't want to go off that creep. Speaking of upgrades, like we saw before, MarineLord really hit his stride once he was able to go for those drops and also get the 3-3 on his bio and the mech, which he is going for something similar here too. I think he has the +1 for his vehicle weapons, but he is going for the armor this time around.
Now we are seeing another drop head towards that natural/main, and this time around, full of mines.
Yeah. By the way, no vehicle weapons. Just going for the armor first. Here we go. 4 mines being dropped into the natural. Is there going to be any pull? It doesn't look like it. Curious not paying attention. This entire mineral line, 12 drones are going to go down.
Yeah, drilling claws just makes it so much harder, but Curious just wasn't paying attention until it was too late. He really needs some overlords down the south there. Now that he has mutas out, there's no Vikings to really deal with him. So he's got to kind of make sure he has an idea of what's coming that way, or that natural is just going to constantly be dropped.
Look at this, MarineLord with that drop, confident enough to come here in the creep and to get a really, really nice spread. He's going to clear a lot of it too.
Yeah, he's looking fantastic right now. He's got rid of so much of the creep towards his base. His army is looking so dangerous right now. It is completely maxed out. Drilling claws. Gotta maybe split those mines up a little bit more there. They could just get banelings. A couple of Thors with this as well. It's going to be a very hard fight for Curious.
We do see that nice split there, by the way, on the Widowmines. Some banelings rolling forward, trying to trigger those Widowmines, doing a decent job here.
He got rid of a couple of them there, triggered a couple more. We actually did see that infestation pick go down as well for Curious, so he isn't going to be sitting on the Ling Bane for too much longer, but here we go.
Coming from all different sides, the Lings coming forward, trying to trigger those Widowmines, and the banelings rolling through, but another really nice spread here from MarineLord. Going to take a very nice trade.
Yeah, perfect spread off the creep there. Widowmine hits did get the hits they needed to, but there's no real follow-up from there because pretty much all the AoE got wiped out, and there was still banelings and a lot of Lings remaining for Curious.
Yeah. Look at this MarineLord kind of itching for that gas. It doesn't seem like he has enough. He's taking an extra one here. Maybe he was foregoing that at his third base for a while, but he's not going to be getting that +1 weapons just yet because he is down a little bit on that gas.
That's actually kind of a mistake as well, because you really need your +3 weapons before anything else, including armor. It is so important to have that. This drop's going to fly into mutas, but mutas only find out just last second there.
Yeah, it looks like he will still be able to take it all out. All the Marines inside going down too. Well, we do have this 4th base finally getting up here for MarineLord. You were saying this before, if you can get that planetary up with some turrets, it's going to extend this game for a bit longer, and he will eventually get those +3 weapons.
Oh, these Lings so close by. If they were morphed into banelings, just went for the big hit in the planetary, it'd be a beautiful move, but they're not going to really find much here.
Nice little drop coming in here. I think MarineLord has learned from the last game that he really does need to go for these drops.
Certainly so. In the end, not going to find too much, but it's very important to keep them happening, keep the Zerg army split up. And look at that. That +3 arm is nearly finished. It's not looking good at all for MarineLord in terms of upgrades.
Still no +3 weapons. And Curious at this point, he's got his own hive on the way. He's got an Ultralisk Den, getting the +3/+3 at the same time. Curious looking pretty happy with this. His economy is pretty fantastic.
Once again, going on the creep. The creep hasn't really been respread, but look at this. Another huge Link Bane engagement just for a second.
Yeah, just pulling back there. A lot of the Widow Mines are back off the creep. Looks like he's only got 6 at this point and only 4 with the army as well.
Look how many Marauders are in this competition now. It's going to make it a lot harder for the Link Bane to engage. Uh-oh, Curious not paying attention. So many of the Lings have been, so many of the Banes were absorbed by Marauders.
Yeah. A lot of them coming forward now once again. I suppose trying to trigger some of these Widow Mines, he will get 2 of them. He's losing a lot of Banes for it.
Yeah, he's remaining maxed out there. A lot more Lings on the way and Banelings. 3-3 still going, and he's starting to upgrade the Ultralisk armor.
The macro is fantastic here from Curious. He's getting another, like, number 6 or number 7 base up in the top left. No signs of stopping. 78 workers. Here we go. The Banelings moving forward once again. Not going to overextend.
No, look at that spread as well. Link Banes are going to be coming from every corner the moment Curious chooses to make it happen. And it looks like it's going to be now.
Yeah, the Link surrounding that first Thor. It's going to go down pretty fast with no support. The Banelings, though, not really able to roll into that big Marine ball here that's still alive.
No, it's still... More and more Banelings are being morphed behind this. Every time Curious goes for an engagement, he's always got so much left behind so he can follow it up in case the Terran moves forward.
Still no +3 weapons. That's a huge oversight.
Massive oversight here. These engagements could be a lot better for MarineLord right now. Yeah. He could have such an upgrade advantage, such a crucial upgrade advantage.
And imagine when Curious hits 3-3. It's about to happen. It's getting really, really close.
Things are going to be pretty bad.
Banelings rolling through once again, but again, really nice splits. It's been one pretty big consistent thing from MarineLord.
Yeah, that was actually beautiful splits and some huge Widow Mine hits. Mutas have been reduced in number by quite a lot there. Only 9 left over. And he's going to try again. It's a pretty awkward position and a lot of Banes coming from below.
Yeah, on the creep though, here is MarineLord. Will he have enough to clean this up? Even the Ultralisk getting in the fight here.
Should be more than enough now. Another active Widow Mine looking for the hit.
Ooh, not the best. Actually hits a lot of the Marauders too with the splash damage. That last one was pretty good. But at the same time, you really got to hand it to Curious. Macro still going strong. Nearly maxed out once again.
Yep. This time, a lot of Ultras on the way. Not making too many more Mutas. I do love the combination of Muta, Ultra, Link, Bane there. And Mutas will deal with the Medivacs, and Ultras will deal with all the ground. So very powerful, but the creep spread is lacking here.
Yeah.
He really needs to start throwing down more active tumors.
Especially now that MarineLord is backed off here a little bit to retreat and, regroup his army. But it looks like a lot of these SCVs actually being pulled. He wants to take this base that should be one of Curious's third bases, I suppose. Maybe make a planetary over there, set up a defensive position possibly.
Right, very forward base at that. I think Curious would be looking to try and engage it. He probably has a fair idea that's floating over there as well, considering how much bio is sitting on top of there. Kind of a very hard engagement for Curious right now.
Yeah, to go up that ramp.
Yeah, and constantly getting poked. He's got a lot of Ultras just getting poked by Marauders. Committing to up that ramp means you're going to be committing to a lot of mine hits. You've got to have that spread ready.
He's got to be careful not to throw away too many of these Ultralisks too. The Banelings rolling forward, trying to once again trigger the mines. And look at that. Down come the mules.
Yep, planetary upgrades. Yeah, as it happens. Curious, just happy to wait for now. Looks like he's getting in position to come from multiple angles there. We find out when it triggers. It's such a hard engagement, but he has to make it happen. The longer this it goes on, the worse it's going to be if this planetary gets up and running.
Look at all the Widow Mines there up on the high ground. Getting a pretty nice spread here. It looks like Curious may want to go for it. No, he's just going to back off once again.
Playing a very passive game here. I wouldn't mind seeing him go for that Great Aspire, maybe into some Broodlord soon. Against this kind of competition, but hold the thought.
Here come the Ultras going up the ramp. So many of the Widow Mines in the back have not yet triggered. Looks like this Ultra is going to eat some of them. Once again, just trying to morph as many Banes and even some more Mutas being added into the composition.
Yeah, Curious just content with staying with this composition for now, not trying to mix it up too much. Once again, going to be engaging this Spire. He's going to clean it up this time, I think. There's more than enough Ultras left over, but with the planetary there, things get so difficult.
I'm not sure if he even went for that planetary just yet. The CC is there, but it's like not having enough. Oh, okay, it is. And here we go. The Ultra's coming up the ramp now. One does go down, but a pretty nice surround here from Curious. Even some links coming from behind. Will this be the final battle where he cleans everything up? The parade push is still coming down, though.
More and more on the way here. Such a huge amount of Marines and Marauders coming from that main base. You see this huge line go, constantly reinforcing, which makes things so difficult for Curious to try and put the nail in the coffin, trying to deal with this base.
It's insane. By the way, the +3 weapons has just completed. He has finally identified that.
It's going to make it a lot easier for MarineLord in this situation. Curious looking for another engagement.
But once again, a really nice spread back here. The Widow Mines.
Ooh, not good Baneling hits at all. I think maybe a Widow Mine or just simply Banelings hitting Marauders means MarineLord has a great window of opportunity to move onto the creep finally.
That instant split once he hits the creep. A lot of these Ultras popping out to their deaths. Not really getting any damage done at all and not tanking for much.
No, this is a horrible situation for Curious right now. He's really desperate at this point. He needs these Baneling hits.
Here come the Banes, not the best splits. He wasn't expecting it from up the ramp. And it looks like it will clean up most of what MarineLord has got back here, in fact.
Now Curious to stabilize once again, but you know, he's losing more and more creep, and he's still got to deal with this base. A lot of very weak medivacs in this army as well. Curious going for that max once again. You know, one thing we gotta remember is how many bases Curious has and how he just keeps taking them when he needs them. He's essentially got half the map at this point.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic so far. But the game will go on. MarineLord is not out of this just yet. Still has that planetary. Looks like he may be going finally for another drop. We were talking about that kind of, you know, where you're only focusing on one position here.
Tunnel vision, Valdez.
There it is.
Tunnel vision.
It seems like Curious, though, has identified this. He's moving his mutas finally up towards the top of the map.
Yeah, it looks like he's fishing for it right now. Doesn't look like he's going to go all the way. Medivac will get away, and it's going to cause a lot of problems for Curious because that is far away from the rest of his army.
Mutas coming in, snipes. Widow Mine there, nicely done.
Interesting upgrades in the mech as well. 1, 2. Counterattack going to be choking up the reinforcements for some time.
It's actually a really nice counterattack here. That door's going to sit in the choke, though.
Oh, man. That's not going to happen.
Widow Mine's even burrowing, but here comes that drop. What does Curious have to defend? These Lings, mind you, are still doing damage there at that third base.
They killed the barracks. That is absolutely insane. More and more damage going down, but this drop is going to be a big point of contention here. It's going to create a lot of havoc. If he can stop the economy of Curious, which is really what's kept him alive.
Oh, look at this. Another drop in the main at the same time. All the mutas are up towards the top of the map. This map is so gigantic. If you can draw the Zerg out of position, you can go for stuff like this. The Ultra Den is going to go down.
And that's an important piece of tech here. He needs his Ultras on the map. He'll definitely be making that one.
Look at that. That's pretty huge. Also shutting down a drop at the same time.
Well, look at this. We are seeing MarineLord move towards the center of the map here. It's going to really open up that expansion, and there's no anti-air whatsoever there. So if the mutas decide to fly in, it's going to do some critical economic damage because there's not really much of an economy left for MarineLord.
Has to be careful about those Lings in the middle of that, though. Doesn't really want to lose too many of them. And look at this. Here come the mutas. There are absolutely no turrets over here. He should be able to totally wipe out that entire mineral line.
Yeah, there are a lot of SCVs about to go down here, including the planetary. There's really no defense for it. I think we're seeing some Marines stream up there, but hold on. We're going to see a huge engagement. He's been cornered as well.
Tied up against the wall. He's just going to have to run back here. Try to go for some last-second splits. They're pretty decent, though. Doesn't take a bad trade.
That Widow Mine.
At the same time, you guys can see the supplies. Curious slowly getting farther and farther ahead. Taking out that beast was a huge advantage for him.
That's right. It helps out so much. A Widow Mine drop happened up north. Only 4 drones going down though, so not too bad at all.
Yeah, not the most damage. And look at this. More and more reinforcements being caught in the middle of the map. Finally, this Mutaball doing what it's supposed to do.
2 mutas as well, mind you, so they can go toe-to-toe with the Marines to an extent. As long as they're not too big in number.
And the economy here of MarineLord is totally choked out. He's trying desperately. Even the creep up there at that 4th base, pretty huge, denying that base for so long. And now coming in here, Could even get on top of those racks. He's going to get some of the SCVs here in the back.
And more counter-attacking as well. It's such a hard position to be in for MarineLord because his bases are so far away at this point. The game has gone on for so long that these counterattacks are finding some real damage.
Yeah. He's trying to come back here, but this is a gigantic map. As I said before, you have to run your Marines all the way down here to defend. He's going to even take out a Tech Lab and maybe a Widow Mine. Going to come over here for more kills here on the reinforcements.
Oh man, these Lings are just being so efficient time and time again. Now, Curious, sitting at max, got a huge Ultra Link Bane army.
Oh, I like this. He's going to draw the army all the way down to the south while he goes for the big attack here on the last mining base of MarineLord.
Here we go again. There's no planetary this time around, so it's going to be a lot easier for this Ultra Bane to do the job.
Rolling over whatever MarineLord had left over here in this base. All the SCVs trying to run away, but he's totally stopped mining. And now look at the mutas in the middle of the map trying to grab some of the reinforcements coming across, and they will do just that.
Yeah, once again, that's a pretty scary army there. These Ultras certainly aren't going to end the game here or now or destroy this base.
Just barely not. Now he's going for that last missile turret at that base. He will just barely get it. Maybe open up an attack there later on with his mutas.
Yeah, these mutas have to be careful. They don't want to be caught out at this point. Still a pretty healthy bank for Curious as well, despite him remaxing just then. In a very commanding position. And MarineLord, you know, he's slowly getting choked out here.
Looks like that
not even enough minerals to repair the turret, Valdez.
He couldn't even. He's got barely anything at this point. 3 gas. MarineLord, it looks like this may just be his final moments. He's going to try to go for one last push there towards the north.
Oh man, he's
the
not
map.
even mining with those SCVs. He needs them to mine so badly at this point. He is so far behind in economy, but look at this. One last ditch effort with his army caught on creep.
It's pretty much all he's got left. You guys see it there right now. It's off creep, but Curious has just got so much stuff at this point. Supplies 110 ahead. Curious looking to win this series. Finally, a really back and forth game over the course of 36 minutes. GG, Curious will be moving on to the semifinals.
Man, what a long-winded series. Really went the distance even in that game. MarineLord was looking great. He had some great parade pushes. He was doing a lot of work here. He really was pressing Curious at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Curious stayed strong. You know, his bases were really never dealt with in the top left corner, which really kept him in the game as well.
Well, MarineLord, he is going to go down here in the round of 8, but you really got to hand it to him. He stuck in there with one of the best Zergs we got over in Korea for so long. But Curious will be our champion of that.